Hey everybody, I'm Dion from Limelight. I'm the lead guitarist for Limelight. And today we're going to do a rig rundown of all my gear. You know, the last show we had a huge response on what is your sound? Wow, that sound was so huge and big. So I know Cliff did a rig rundown. I'm going to do a rig rundown as well. So let's go ahead and start with my amp. Um, Pretty much what I play through a Vox AC30. It's a custom classic. It's 212 and it's got Celestian greenbacks in it, which I'll be switching to vintage 30s because they kind of have a cleaner, crisper tone, in my opinion. The way I have it set up, there's many different inputs you can do. I play through this normal high input, but I actually bridge the top boost and the normal channel so that I have more control over the tone. So instead of just being able to use like these settings for only one top boost and then these settings for just the normal channel, I have full control over everything. I use a little bit of reverb, no tremolo on there, and I pretty much only use the amp for a clean tone. Distortions were working out when we first started, but now that we're kind of getting into more versatile music, I kind of need a little bit more with my gear. So I kind of use an overdrive pedal and a boost pedal for my crunchies and my gains. Now, as far as my pedal board goes, there's a lot of pretty colors. The way my chain works is I pretty much start with my Line 6 G50, I believe. Yeah, it's G50. It's my wireless system. From my wireless system, I go into my plimsoll. My plimsoll is what I use for all of my overdrives, my crunches, my gains, my distortions. It's a very, very versatile pedal, but I kind of just leave it like that, and I use the M13 for other things. Out of the plimsoll, I go to my Busta Grande. Busta is a newer pedal for me. It's what it is. It's what I use to boost all of my sounds. So when I do lead parts or I need something a little bit louder than the rest, that's what I go to. From the Busta, I go into my M13 Stomp Box modeler, which I have a, a plethora of sounds that come out of that. I'm what you would call an effects junkie. So there's not one of our songs where I don't think I have two or more effects going on at the same time. On, let's see, this first effects row, I have kind of just a really, really mild distortion, breaks up a little bit, but gets really clean if I pick light. I have a heavy distortion, which is what I can use for lead parts if I don't feel like boosting it, but mainly I use that when I just want to get really, really gritty on something. It's kind of like a fuzz. It has a fuzz sound to it. Up here, I just kind of have a delay that's set and forget. It's not a tap tempo. You just kind of do whatever I need to do with it. On the second row, this first one is kind of a swell. So it's an auto volume. Instead of me physically controlling volume with like an expression pedal or a volume pedal, it just does it on its own. I pick the note and it just sits there and then it just gets louder and louder and louder. The next one, it's my ping pong. It's kind of a faster delay, and it has more of a, I guess, kind of a trickle effect, which sounds really, really cool if you're just doing single note picking. This next one, it's kind of the one that I use if I want to tap it to something. So if any one of our songs is very, time conscious, I use that one more than anything. Up here, I have a chorus, analog chorus, which I use in some solos, some nice, pretty clean parts. I don't use that a whole lot. This is my fun. My fun effect. It's a synthomatic. It sounds terrible. And you can only play a single note, because if you try to play two notes at once, it makes the ugliest, like, tone come out of my amp, and I'm afraid I'm going to blow a speaker. So I don't really use that one a whole lot. My last one is probably one of my favorite effects on this pedal. It's my Octosynth. It's the one that has kind of like an organ slash string sound that I use a lot, actually through a lot of our songs. Yeah. This next row, I have a phaser, which is pretty much just like a flange. It's got a low like swell rate, so it starts with those deeper tones, and then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and it takes a long time. And then I use tremolo, which the tremolo currently is one of the 2 effects that I use with my expression pedal. It gets faster as I push the pedal down, and it gets slower as I pull it back, which I use that only on Tired Soul. It's during the part where I kind of try to emulate almost like a dubstep sound. It goes like wub 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 wub, and people seem to like it, so I kind of keep with it. And then this is my reverb. I use a spring reverb, and I have it set up very, very versatile. So all the way pulled back, it's just kind of like a, you're playing in a room setting. Has a little bit of echo, a little bit, not too much, not overbearing. And the more and more I push down on the expression pedal, the heavier it gets. All the way out, it's kind of more like a playing a huge hall, almost like an auditorium. It gets really, really echoey, and it sounds really, really pretty on certain parts. All right, guitars. Now, as far as guitars go, I have a few, and I love them all, but I really only play one. And I know some of you guys will be like, why don't you play the other ones? And I'll tell you why I don't play the other ones. Because my latest addition to the family, this is Buttercup. Buttercup sounds amazing. I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. It's the hollow body. It gives it more of a warmer tone. Yeah, warmer tone. Brings out more of the mids. I love it. I just love it. If I could have 5 of them, I'd have 5 of them. And they'd all be different. It's completely maple. And it's the natural wood. It's kind of just got a glossy, typical Fender gloss finish. And as far as the reason I bought it is because I came across these online and I wanted one so bad, except for they were the originals, because this is a reissue. The originals are very, very expensive if you can find a good one. They run about 5,000 is the cheapest I've found, all the way up to about 9 grand is the most expensive I've found, depending on who's played them. Really, the only difference between this and the originals is the originals are a complete hollow body. This has a center wood block in here. The reason they did that is to fight against feedback. They were feeding back a lot. Like if my fingers were to come off the strings just slightly, it would feed back like crazy. And the updated Fender wide range pickups, which are great. I love them. I wouldn't change them. And I know some people will be like, why wouldn't you change them? Because they're perfect and I don't want to fix it because it's not broken. Pretty much the only thing I did was I added these. It had the Telecaster style, just black fender knobs, which looked cool, but I like this a little bit better. So that's me, but that was like a whole $10 expense. Now, here's what I like to call my case baby. This is a 50s? 60s? 50s? 60s. This is a 60s Gibson Les Paul with 2 P90 pickups, these guys, and it is a vintage Honeyburst. And I fell in love with it when I saw it, and I had to have it because I've always wanted a Gibson Les Paul, and I love the way P90 sound. So I saw it at Guitar Center, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to try this out. And I left with it. Don't mind the standard thing. The standard thing is because I took the one off of it that's blank, and I'm having it engraved right now, so I had to buy another one to put over it. So yeah, don't mind that because it's not really a standard. It's actually a custom. They made 2 different runs of this. One's got the dark back, and one's got the light back. I liked the darker just because it blended better with the headstock, and it just, I don't know, fit better for me. I used this guitar for probably the first 1.5 years of Limelight, and I still love the guitar, but I've moved on to Buttercup. This one is my case baby. It's even starting to get a little road worn around the edges. Some just nicks and cuts and scratches, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. I'm not really like super conscious about my gear, except if I drop it, like I dropped my other one over here. So we'll move on to that guy. Alright, this is my 72 Telecaster Deluxe reissue. I had to redo this guitar. It wasn't originally yellow. It was originally a walnut, like reddish walnut color. It had a beautiful stain on it. But I dropped it, and there was a big chip that got taken out right here. Huge chip. And so I didn't play it for a long time. And it pretty much just sat in a case. This is actually the first guitar that I purchased that was a good guitar. My first guitar I've ever owned was a PV Predator. This guy, I've always been in love with the Telecaster bodies. I always thought they were really, really cool looking, better than Strats, better than a Strat body. So, but I've never really liked the twangy tone of a Fender Telecaster. You know, they have that country kind of twang to them. So when I saw these that had the wide range humbuckers in them, I was like, try this out. And at the time it worked really, really well for the band I was in. You know, we kind of had more of that screamo kind of. I mean, yeah, screamo. It was kind of screamo. That was pretty much screamo. But it worked. It worked really, really well. And then after I bought this, the band only lasted about another 3 months, and then we broke up. And then I never played it. And I pulled it out to play it once, put the strap on, and it went like this. And it dropped and chipped. So I put it away. I never played again. And I sold all of my gear. And then I got in contact with my buddy Clifton, and we started playing again. So I was like, sweet, gotta buy all new gear again. And then I had to fix this guy. But this guitar, I guess, has the most sentimental value to me because I've had it the longest, and I'll probably never get rid of it. I've had guitars that I've gotten rid of. I had another Telecaster, it was a Fender Special Run, but I literally played it twice, used it for like one recording, and then got rid of it. But that's life. And I hope you've enjoyed my rig rundown. I know I kind of ramble on a lot, but that's who I am. So thank you, and let me know if you have comments, questions, or concerns. Do 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 do.
All right, here we go.